Howdy everybody, welcome back to Lab Hours. Today we're just going to be giving you an overview of all the materials that I have designed and stored on GitHub for ECON 378, Statistics for Economists here at BYU. Just going to give you a quick rundown of every file that I've uploaded and what they do, what their purposes are, and so on and so forth. So right away, the link here is github.com/tmorg46. This is me right here, smiling, happy, having a wonderful time, and happy to be here. The repository that we're interested in is, of course, Econ 378. It's this one down here, so I'm going to go ahead and give that a click. And if you need the link just by itself, github.com/tmorg46/econ 378, you're going to find that in the description of this video and in the description of the other intro lecture videos that I've given. So really quick, I'll just give you an overview of the README, and then we'll go in and actually show you what each of these files are really quick. So of course this playlist right here that's linked in the README is going to link you to the playlist of which this video is the first one, so that you have access to those resources. But also, of course, the other 3 videos in that playlist are going to be the example lectures. I wrote 3 lectures for this class. I gave 3 lectures just sort of to an empty audience, just sort of giving you an example of how I would have done it had there been an audience. Giving you just a little bit of tips and tricks and how I envisioned it being given in those 3 videos. But all the rest of the files here on the GitHub are sort of the supporting materials for that. So of course, I won't read the file descriptions out for you. You can read these yourself on the GitHub. But basically, the essential overview is that I have the assignments themselves sort of as a PDF that you give out after the lectures. I have teaching notes as a PDF. That's going to be the one where you get sort of the line by line, this is how I would have given the lecture. I refer to them in those 3 videos as well. I also have the assignment sheet in LaTeX if you want to change the font or just copy everything. Totally fine. Do what you want with them. And so I'll just give you a look at those here really quick. This is teaching notes PDF, and of course it also links to the same playlist because, I really think it makes the resources a little bit more available if you wanted to sort of get in my head while I was writing these. These are lecture notes. They go bullet point by bullet point. Nothing crazy, nothing we've never seen here. And then the assignments PDF, here it is. It looks very similar. The first one is called Nice to Sheet You. That's the first lecture. That's Excel. And then Blind Date with Big Data. That's Stata, the first Stata assignment. The first Stata block, if you will, and then More Data, No Problems is the second one. And yeah, pretty easy, pretty cool, nothing crazy here. The really good stuff comes when we get into the actual folders for each of the lectures. We've got the Excel one here. The Excel homework asks the students to do their homework in Excel and then upload answers as a Word document, which is to say they're not turning in any of their data. They're just turning in a Word document with answers to the questions. Nothing crazy here. This is the answer key, super easy. And then this is the data set that we ask them to use on the assignment. I could click View Raw because it's not very big. It'll just download it, so I'll pull it up there for you really quickly. Why not, We'll see how quickly it is that Excel can manage to open itself up. And this is what the data set looks like. It's just a data set of 2 years worth of gymnastics scores, 277 observations, nothing crazy. The Excel one, relatively tame. Okay. Then we'll jump back in here, and Stata 1 and 2 is where the files actually start to get a little bit interesting and start to get a little bit complex. I will bring up here on the assignments.pdf, you can see they're answering the Excel questions in a Word document or a Google Doc, and they turn it in as a PDF. Okay, if they turn in their data, they get a 0. I don't want to deal with the data, right? I know what it's supposed to look like. The interesting thing for Stata 1 and Stata 2 is that there is actually an assignment due file. So they have a blank template due file from which to put in their answers and stuff. And then I also have a couple of other do files in the folder as well. So for Stata 1, that example do file is here. It's stata1.do. Assignment, put the completed assignment, yada yada. That's just for something we're about to talk about in just a second. But all they're doing with this first Stata do file is they're mostly just filling in numbers here where the 4 hash marks are, right? Replace hash marks. The assignments say, make it so that this happens in the do file, right? Like, yada, yada, yada. What is her average score in this set, right? So this one's pretty easy. The first assignment, very hand-holdy, like finish the command, right? And then, use an asterisk to comment line 26. This is the do file that they download to put their answers into that they will then turn in, okay? We have a key do file, which is just the do file with everything filled in with the correct answers and numbers. 815, East West, Washington. A lot of them will put Oregon State here, but that's the team that hosted the meet. It's not the team that ESA played for. That's an interesting thing. But then the really important thing is if you download all the do files and you don't want to individually open them all up in Stata by themselves, there is this Stata grader do file, which if you download all the do files and put them in whatever folder this is, whatever path it is for you, and run this do file, what it does is it will output a text log file that will go do file by do file and display like their answers next to like what the answer is supposed to be, right? So it'll display their name, right? And then it will display, current directory should be this. It's currently this, right? Or like total observation should be 4,778, and their answer was whatever they put in the first do file, right? So what you do is you'll download all the do files, put them into one folder, set the directory of this do file, the global route right here. The instructions are all here, but basically what it does is it just gives you one file so you don't have to open all the individual do files in order to grade this assignment. You can just run this one and just go down the line from there, which I think is pretty nifty. And then here in data and submissions, the instructions in here, like I say to take all of the downloaded do files and put them into a folder like this. It's really just has to be a folder that has this data file in it because their do files will need to call that data file. This one being gymnast_stata. I'm not going to show you this raw one. It's basically just an expanded version of the Excel data set that they used, which is to say the Excel data set that they used was actually just a narrower version of this data set, which is several seasons worth of gymnastics data for several teams. It's pretty good stuff. You'll need to upload that data set as something they can download in order to do the assignment, right? And then much the same story in Stata 2, we again have a Stata 2 template do file, we have the key do file, and we have the grader do file. Those are exactly the same as previously mentioned, other than the Stata 2 assignment is less hand-holdy in that it actually asks them to write code without really much of a sort of like hint so much actually being in the do file. So they will actually write entire lines of code into this assignment, which I think is pretty good. We just try to build them up to that. Data and submissions, at the end of assignment 1, the Stata assignment 1, they save a CSV file called data for Obama. So that file is in here in its correct form. That way, when you grade the do files, even if they do something incorrectly in the first Stata assignment, they should be able, if they write all the code correctly in the second one, to get full credit when you run Stata 2 grader, even if they mess some stuff up on their personal version of data for Obama. If they wrote it correctly in the second assignment, it will correct those mistakes for them, and they will get full credit on the second assignment. And then this is another data set that so this one you wouldn't have to upload, right? This one you would not upload to a place like Learning Suite or a Canvas, right? Because this is something they will have already made at the end of the last assignment. But this one here, the idk_lol.data, that one you will need to upload for them. So that is pretty much it for everything that's in this file. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and email me at labhours@tmorg.org. I am always willing to answer questions there. I will get back to you really quickly. Or you can always just leave them in the comments of this video, but only after you like and subscribe, right? Just kidding. You don't have to do that, but it would be nice. We would love it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that these materials are helpful to you, and however you decide to use or modify them is totally fine with me. I hope that they're useful, and I hope that they help you teach students that Stata is cool and better than Excel. So that's going to be everything from me today. Hope we see you back here in lab hours again. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.